Good morning from the south of France. We're currently giving the new Svartpilen 801 a bit of a workout. What a way to wake up Don's le morning, or Don's le matin.
If the Svartpilen isn't your thing, or you can't afford a new bike anyway, make sure you head over to apex66.co.uk for a chance to join other 44-teethers in winning some rather sexy steeds. This S1000RR M Sport ends on the 30th of May and is currently criminally undersold at £2.99 a ticket. There's a link in description.
It's fair to say the old Svartpilen was, look, it looked cool as fuck, and a lot of people thought that, but it's a bit of a show pony. You know, it was seriously compromised by, you know, with having that single pot. It was based on the old 690, and it had a 9-litre fuel tank, which, you know, it was a thirsty bugger anyway. And then you give it 9 litres to play with, and there's no wonder it, yeah, it didn't. I'm not going to say flop, because it wasn't a flop, but it was seriously compromised. I put a shout out on Instagram the other day say we were coming to Marseille to ride this puppy, and most of the questions were all based on the 790. And is it just a 790? Is it just this? Is it just that? And obviously, look, I get the comparison, the instant comparisons, but I mean, obviously, it doesn't look like a 790. Let's just start with that. And to be fair, there's quite a few changes. You know, regardless of the looks, you still feel like you're on a KTM in some respects. You know, you can't look past the WP suspension, the engine, you know, the rest of the bolt-ons, the ancillaries. But it does feel different. It feels more mellow. Obviously, the sound of the engine's the same, but it does feel more mild-mannered, more. All right, what are you recording? More mild-mannered, a little bit more mellow, and that comes from a more relaxed chassis. It doesn't feel as twitchy, doesn't feel as like it's fighting to gain grip all the time. Go on, Babs. Ultimately, you can dress it up to make it look like what you want, but it still will have that sort of inherent KTM buzz, fun factor. And the seating position is, well, I tell you what, if you covered my ears and the WP bit, and obviously the switchgear, but the actual feel of the bike, it's nothing like a 790. The riding position is drastically different. Again, more relaxed, way more relaxed. There's quite a bend on your knees, and I think some taller riders might find that tricky because it's a relatively low seat height. And there's no denying that this is a scrambler. Husqvarna are even calling it a scrambler in the press conference, and you know, despite its kind of sporty nature and its DNA, it's still a scrambler. And they were trying to explain why they use 17-inch wheels, and I don't know why you wouldn't use 17-inch wheels, but it's all about these tyres, and obviously the sort of Pirelli scrambler tyres. You know, don't get me wrong, they are decent enough, but you've got bags more potential with proper sort of sporty rubber when you put them on this bike, and you're able to unleash the grip and the performance if that's the thing you want, or whether you want to, you know, put a brown seat on it and stick with the scrambler tyres. And like most press launches these days, you know, regardless of the bike, they put us on roads like these, and some bikes sink, some bikes swim, and you know, regardless of what you want to call it, a scrambler, a modern retro, this is definitely swimming, I can tell you that. It's the sportiest scrambler I know, and I'm really hesitant to use the word scrambler because it is essentially a sporty naked bike with some scrambler tyres on. And even then, Husqvarna say, well, you know, we put sort of these tyres on because it's a scrambler, but we've left them 17-inch, so if you do want sportier tyres, you can put them on. The cockpit arrangement is rather dazzling. I do like the dash. The switchgear, not so much. You can tell there's some financial restraint there, just to bolt this sort of stuff onto, which kind of, you know, the rest of the bike looks really kind of slick and, you know, and not not executive, but it looks a little bit more upmarket. Well, it looks way more upmarket than the switchgear. So well, I do believe it's that time of day we call luncheon or déjeuner. So we'll have a bit of manger, bit of jambon and fromage, and of course I'll report back when we finished our delightful luncheon at the Le Zest Brasserie. Looks like a bit of a trucker stop. Nice. Got a salmon tartare starter, followed by a beautiful meat and pasta. So when this 790 engine was kind of re-jiggered last year, there's a lot of fanfare about it. It's now made in China. The bike itself is assembled in Austria. But yeah, that partnership with CF Moto and the Chinese things, you know, could you tell this engine is made in China? Absolutely not. If anything, it's more refined than the Austrian version. It's very, very smooth at the bottom. You know, slower speed stuff. It's very easy to ride, very easy to manage. The clutch is light. But then when you want it to be, when you open the throttle, it has got that hard hitting kind of mid-range and the induction noise and everything else that goes with it. But it's one of those bikes, it'll suit so many riders, or appease so many riders, just because of its power characteristics, its fun factor, and there is enough power for anyone to have fun on this bike. You know, obviously you have to choose the right kind of environment, but oh, this is where we got to put a foot down. We got told the police are waiting for us. Stop, go. Having said I like the dash, I do like the dash. However, it's a little bit busy. The gear position indicator, brilliant. Slip adjuster, I mentioned, brilliant. Just quite busy. But there is a little feature I just found out while taking it to the limiter, and I'll show you. It's quite often when you're sort of riding committed, it's quite often difficult to see where the red line is, and as you can see, that's definitely the yellow line that flashes up. I mean, I was sort of minding my own business looking around, and this big yellow flash came up, and I think yeah, it's a little things, isn't it? Little things. It said 0% chance of rain today. Well, like Husqvarna put a steering damper or a steering dampener on the Svartpilen, this rain has really put a dampener on proceedings today. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if the GoPro audio is fucked. I'm just talking shit as the rain gets harder. Come to the south of France.
Now, despite all of what I said and all of the reviews and all of my opinion, more than likely bikes like these you choose because you like the look of them. They're stylish stallions, should we say. But is it a flat tracker? Is it a scrambler? Is it a modern retro? I mean, who knows? And this Svartpilen 801, like many of the kids in my son's schools, struggle to identify what they are in life. But let me tell you this, there is absolutely nothing dynamically wrong with this bike. Its sporting ability absolutely smashes its scrambler rivals. You've got to look to things like the XSR 900 GP and other sort of takes on the modern retros to really kind of fit a proper rival for this bike, because it is so sporty, as you would expect from having 790 genes. Now, I absolutely love what they've done with the exposed subframe. It is absolutely stunning in the flesh. I don't think pictures or videos do it justice. And the other thing, and this is a big thing, I think a lot of people are with me on this, and by the sound of it, a lot of Husqvarna customers are as well. They've got rid of the rear wheel mounted number plate holder and gone for a more conventional thing. I wish more manufacturers would listen to their customers, because that's exactly what Husqvarna did, and they went, yeah, people aren't buying our bikes purely because of a number plate holder, and that's the real truth of it all. Now, going back to its rivals, the Ducati Scrambler, the clue's in the name. It is a proper bespoke scrambler. It's probably better in town, more agile, especially with the wheels, the way the wheel sizes are and the geometry and everything else. But it's not a sporty, so it's kind of, you got to pick what flavour you want here. In a similar way, the Indian FTR, it's like someone's bolted in a supercharged engine into a bespoke
scrambler chassis. So again, it's all about what flavour you want, really. Let's pretend you haven't ridden this kind of 790 platform before. The engine is super smooth, the fueling is delicious, all the ancillaries are nice, even the gearbox, for me, is another step up, another step in terms of modernisation. It's lost a little bit of aggression, but again, I don't think that's a bad thing, especially for bikes like this, where everyday riding and less committed speeds are kind of the order of the day, rather than chasing tents or, going balls to the wall. But the chassis is the big thing. I mean, basically what they've done is raked it out, made it more relaxed. And apparently, obviously apart from the subframe, you've got this different subframe, the swing arm's the same, but apparently you couldn't fit the original 790, the Duke engine, into this, just because of just how different it is. So essentially what they've done is raked out the front, made it more stable, and it's actually quite, in a similar way to the new 990 Duke, and how much more kind of stable, more friendly, more user-friendly, less twitchy than the 890 is. I love the 890, I love that kind of twitchiness, it makes you feel alive, but honestly for bikes like these, which I guess Husqvarna are trying to get more riders, different riders, a sort of wider range of riders onto their bikes, then it's not a bad thing. I personally, I like the more aggressive geometry, I like the more twitchy, makes you feel alive and makes you feel like you're holding onto the seat of your pants. But as I said, there's very little to moan about in the dynamics department. Actually nothing to moan about in the dynamics department. It's all about the styling, and the good thing is the styling is backed up by serious performance, and this is an absolute belter of a bike.